we're here with return guest Dana Malstaff, who is the founder and CEO of BossMom.com. Boss Mom is a business and movement that has been empowering moms to find their voice, purpose, and financial independence for over a decade. Dana is a mother, author, speaker, podcaster, connector, and she believes that far too many brilliant moms are struggling to figure out how to grow their business while balancing all that is required to be a good mom, partner, and woman. Let's talk about it. Let's get awkward. Let's make some mistakes. Conversation. How are you, Dana?
I am good. And here's the funny part. I actually think we're rewriting the Boss Mom book because it was published a decade ago in 2025, right? So in 2015. So it's coming out a completely revised, awesome version summer of next year, probably right around my birthday in May. And some of the stuff we've really done when we've really nailed down the research and figuring and how I've coached thousands of women and thousands of moms. And what we've really discovered is so many women are actually starting their business as a way to find themselves again after becoming a mother. And a percentage of those people are actually in it to just, make money, pay bills, those kinds of things. But also, but most of the time, they're making decisions not based on what's just most financially viable or easy. They're actually starting harder businesses to start and then wondering why it's not working that well because they haven't realized that they need the appreciation loop. They need somebody to tell them that they're special and smart because our kids and our spouses aren't all great at it sometimes because life is logistical, right? And yeah, so it's this really interesting thing we've kind of uncovered where women are starting businesses to find their own identity again after becoming a mom, which is awesome because I think all women should, because if they don't start a business, they won't actually make the time because the business feels like, oh, I'm going to make money. There's a reason why I'm in this. And then they end up going on this amazing self-development walkabout that I think would help all moms. So now we're on a mission for all moms to start a business as a way to find themselves. And in the midst of that, they're going to find ways to create more financial freedom. But the most important part is that we have moms that don't feel like they have no identity, which is going to make better kids, I think.
And there's so much wrapped up in there, and that's great. And what it tells me is how important it is to have a goal, but also to realize that you're where you're at currently, and realize that maybe things are currently a mess, and I need to go on that sort of walkabout. I need to figure out a new plan, need to shake things up, and I need to have the community and support to figure out. And I think that this is really interesting because what you're making me think of is I have all these book clients, and sometimes you tend to group them together, right? And there's a lot of the 50-ish range, the kind of divorce empty nester, and they have that similar trigger that you're talking about. They say, hey, well, I had this life change, so why not just embrace it, right? Steer into the skid or into the wave, as they say, and just say, hey, well, my life has been shooken up anyways. Why don't I just start this business because I'm kind of in the mode to do something new? And with the motherhood, I can sort of kind of relate and not relate. Like me and my wife work from home. We have a 4-year-old born during the pandemic, right around the time of the economic shakeup, AI, everything that comes with that. So it's life is never the same constant. So why not embrace the chaos, embrace the suck, and create this business for the right reasons, as you say, right? Look at for that appreciation loop, because you sort of think you're doing it for the money, but if you were, why not, join a startup? Why not get a lucrative career, right? Get a master's degree. So you're starting this business, but it's the independence is kind of slightly more important than the money. So why not appreciate that? Go for the appreciation loop. And so tell me how you fit in. If someone says, I am a new mom and I know I need some guidance, what can Dana tell me and how can she help me?
Yeah. By the way, I think an MBA is the worst place to invest your money. Unless you're going to work in hedge funds or do actual financial planning or some of those things, I would tell you I have coached a crap ton of women with MBAs and PhDs that say that learning how to actually do things online and going through our kinds of training has been way more useful than I just think that if you're doing anything that involves the online world, getting any actual marketing degree from a university will not help you.
Ooh, that's a good insight. I
Hands down.
love it.
And I mean, and that's because I deal with a lot of companies where I will get their team on the phone and they all have marketing degrees. And I say this with love and they will say it out loud. They're like, we have they did not teach us any of this. Like, this is not, we know what a P&L is. We know what these are like, but I know traditional marketing and we are not in a world of traditional marketing. If somebody's a new mom, the reason it's important for us to know that our businesses are a way for us to find ourselves and refine our identity and refine what we care about. The reason that's important to know is because a lot of women, a lot of moms, but also anybody who's in that kind of like midlife crisis, what's my life for, empty nester, maybe a parent dies, any big catalyst where you're soul searching. We beat ourselves up because we go to get featured, right? I see this all the time. They're like, I'm like, get on podcasts. Like, you want to be seen, you want to make relationships, get on podcasts. That's one of the best things that you can do. It's tried and true. Go get featured. And then months later, they'll come back and they'll go, well, I really haven't pitched myself. I kind of know what to say. And when you unravel it, you start to recognize that part of finding themselves is they don't know what their voice is. They don't know how they want to be seen, or they're scared of being seen because what that might mean, or they're scared of some of the choices they've made, or some of the things they haven't done, or how slow things are going, or whatever that is. And you start to realize that those fears are keeping them from taking easy action. But because they're not taking the easy action, they start going, maybe I'm the problem. I just can't seem to get this done. Maybe I'll buy that course. It's going to show me how to pitch myself. And I'm like, you don't need more skills. You need to get out of your own way and recognize that you have some emotional things to get through. Same thing with posting and creating social content. Same thing with updating websites. It'll take months and months for them to write a sales page, or they'll say, I'm going to write a book, and then they stall. So anytime where I see somebody, especially a mom and a new mom, especially, that is stalling, a lot of times we stop and we go, hey, what is this calling up for you? Let's step back and be more therapist and life coach than we are business coach, because you don't need another $10,000 program teaching you how to market when you are going to self-sabotage all of that. Let's figure out how you want to show up, how you want to be visible, where do you need to discover yourself and be impactful? What does that need to look like for you to feel good first? And how do we surround? That's why community for moms is so important, because we need constantly to be told we're not crazy, constantly to be told going slow is okay, constantly to be told that, we're enough, and that we're smart, even though, we woke up 7 times because each kid came in the room at a different time with a different issue, and we need that around us. Otherwise, we think we're the problem. And they need to recognize that just finding yourself and uncovering who you are through the process of business is actually a very natural process, and they should embrace it. And that will help them do more marketing, get more visible, because that's the biggest place. Marketing is the biggest place where those hangups show up.
That is an incredible insight, that this business ownership is a path to self-discovery that you might not have had otherwise, right? If you had some other career, some way of making money, you might not have had these deep kind of momentarily painful insights. And so what I get from you is that there's bad cycles and there's good cycles, right? It seems like the good cycle is, well, I haven't figured out all my like brand identity stuff, but I need to go out there and take some action, right? Do the simple things, get on the podcast. And you're also saying that the bad cycle is this kind of repetition of saying like, well, I'm feeling this, I've got this excuse, and all this stuff piles up. And then it's like, okay, I just need to do something. Okay, well, I need to do something. I'll buy this course, I'll read this book. So it's like this alternating of like, I'm piling all this up, and then, okay, well, I can't even do this one thing. Now I've got the self-doubt or the pity party. Now I'm piling up other stuff. So are you saying that the way to break through is to kind of have your support group, have your therapist, have your community?
Well, I think the first step is awareness that you're not just starting a business. You're not just making money, right? You have to do sales and marketing in order to make money in online, whether that's through calls, webinars, sales pages, small products, videos you do online. It doesn't matter. You gotta do sales and marketing, which means you have to be visible, which means you have to be seen, and to be aware that being seen is scary if you don't know who you are and what you want. So like for us, our nurture to convert marketing system, which is what we don't just teach moms, it's just what we teach, And it's based around the idea that you care about people, you want to nurture people. So it's not just about making sales, it's about making sales with integrity and like doing it that way. And there's a particular psychology to it. But one of the things that we walk them through isn't just what's your brand and who's your ideal client, right? Who are they? We actually merge that with who are you. Because personal brand and being visible, you are the center. We used to have companies 20 years ago where you had no idea who ran it, but that's just not the way it works. And especially not when you're the solopreneur kind of style. So what we do is we take you through the movement manifesto, which is what's your vision of what you wish the world looked like in your particular area, right? Okay, then we go and you through your industry opinions, right? How is the world broken? Because if the world wasn't broken in this particular place, you wouldn't be trying to fix it with whatever it is that you're doing, right? And broken might be that you're making it easier. You want them to think differently about something. Easy examples of that are like the medical field and the changes there, and education if you do homeschooling, like those kinds of things, right? And then we do permissions, which is how does your audience and you collectively feel judged or crazy, or like maybe you're broken in certain ways because of the way you are. Like just for us, me being somebody who wanted to have my own business and have kids and work from home and do that, that is weird to a lot of people. I don't hang out with the people that think it's weird. For the women who homeschool, I mean, I think it's hilarious. I've got friends where like, we can't hang out that much if you've got 7 kids, because I don't fundamentally understand. I think you're a little bit crazy. Like, how could you do that? That's so many children. And so really understanding what it is you feel judged about, and when you merge those things, there's other things we do in there, but when you merge those things, then all of a sudden you have this deep clarity of who you are and what you're actually trying to do. And you get so excited about it that you start to recognize that you have a voice, and that voice is important. And we move you into a movement state. Like our nurture to convert system is based around movement marketing, right? And it is around going and being so excited about what you want to talk about that other people get excited about it too. And you have to be less of an expert in sales and marketing because you're actually creating a movement instead of just marketing to sell a business. Those are some of the exercises that we bring them through. And that's part of what gets them past, either it brings up things they need to work through with like a life coach, or it brings it past. I usually tell everybody in their business, I was like, before you hire a business coach, hire a life coach, because the business coach is going to tell you to do a bunch of stuff and you're going to literally self-sabotage and not do most of it. And you're not going to know why. And you're going to think you just need another coach. And odds are you needed a life coach first.
That's huge. And I can imagine how discouraging that could be, right? Of saying, okay, well, I tried to figure it all on my own. That didn't work. I got a coach. They gave me a big old list of stuff to do. I failed at all of that. Now I
Yep.
feel worse off than when I started. Now I feel like, what am I even doing with my life? It's good I
Yeah.
didn't try too hard, because look what happened when I tried a little bit. Time to pack it in, time to quit. And so we have some of those inner problems to dig through. We have some stuff to figure out. And since this is a podcast, and stories and real people are exciting, and you're all about community and networking, do you have anyone that you can share with us about how, like, someone that was stuck, frustrated in this space that you say, and then so you found used some of these tools, applied what you said, and kind of broke through and made it to the next step?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we see that all the time. And then they're the varying levels. So for some women, here's the interesting part. We get about 10 to 20% that actually come in, they go through all this work, and then they decide they don't actually want a business. That's not what they want, right? Because they were starting a business because that's what everybody says to do. Or they decide, I came in to be this coach, but I actually want to go be, an Amazon influencer and make videos and make money that way, because then behind the scenes, I don't actually want to be in front of the scenes, right? We have some women, like I have Melissa Corkum, her and her business partner, they do amazing work. They basically help parents who have adopted troubled teens. They're both therapists. And nobody's, it's hard to get featured. That's not a topic. People are like putting on features in places. And when we were going through this system of trying to figure out, like, it's just a heavy topic. Like, how do you go out and talk about it? How do you have these conversations? And why are they doing it? Why is this important for them to be doing it? What is their belief system? When we went through the nurture to convert, and now they're opening a membership. They're at multi 6 figures. Right? Which is a lot of what our women want, because a lot of our women can't work more than 10 to 20 hours a week. right? Like this idea, like they'll go, Dana, how many millionaires have you made? And I was like, well, maybe a couple. I think there's two that come to mind, right? That now have multi-million-dollar businesses. But ultimately, that's not the goal, because most of our moms don't want to work 50 hours a week, and they don't want to have a huge team. They want to work 10 to 20 hours a week. They want to have something that's leveraged, and they want to have something that makes them feel like they're making an impact in the world and a financial impact in their family. That is what moms want. And so we have tons of examples of women who decide to stop their business altogether. We have a tons of women who like Melissa, who weren't sure how, like they had these hangups and they weren't sure what to do with it. And we did this exercise, and now they're making sustainable multi-six-figure businesses. And I have actual like big clients, like supplement company clients and things like that, that implement a lot of our systems. And interestingly, they end up saying that I'm more like a therapist, because the hangups that they have, their million, 2 million, $5 million cash flow things, and what they're dealing with still comes with the same self-development stuff, because they're moving into the next level of their business, right? So when people sit down to grow, you still do that same thing of, who do I want to be? What does this look like? What kind of identity? How does this impact my family? How does it? And that's the conversations people should be having. That's why I want Boss Mom so important, because a business isn't just a business. A business is a part of the life that you have. And that life includes family. It includes your time. It includes your priorities. You don't have multiple buckets. There is no life balance and work-life balance. There is an integration of one bucket, of one set of choices you make that impact everything. And if you are a parent, and I think especially moms, because we just function a little bit differently naturally, you're going to run your business different. You're going to do things different. And I want to create a world where that's not seen as bad. That's not seen that we're slower. That's not seen that we don't know, that we're wishy-washy, or we don't know what we're doing. I want to see that as, of course you do it differently, because your priorities and your desires and what you're doing. And also, by the way, we get a ton of women who their kids get to a certain age, they have a successful business, and some of them just straight up either shut it down, they sell it, they do something, because their kids are at an age now where they want to travel to their baseball games out of state. They don't want to. They've decided they want to homeschool while they're doing different things. And they feel guilty, like there's something wrong with them, that the 10 years they spent with their business is now coming to a different phase, and their desires and what they want is different. And they feel bad about it. Like, I want to create a world where they go, of course I feel this way. This is actually completely natural for me to want these things, and to be okay with it, so they can move into that phase without guilt, and actually do the things for their life and their family and the money they make that works for them, without worrying about it.
These are some big ideas. There's so much to think about here as far as the lifestyle design. And I can tell you practice what you preach, right? Because you're all about having this movement, having a passion, having a cause. Because, like, say someone's running for office, right? And it's like, oh, hey, elect me for like mayor or governor or
Yeah.
something. That's not interesting, right? It's not about you. But if someone says, hey, it's my passion to like give you clean water, make the trash work
Right.
better, it's like, okay, there's the cause. And then if you're some business person on a podcast and it's like, oh, hey, buy my stuff, back to not interesting. But if you say, hey, here's how I want to change the world, and here are my opinions, and here's
Yeah.
me define the cliches. And if that's not for you, that's okay. There's 8 million other podcasts
Yeah.
to tune into. But if this is you, then here's how your life can be different. And it seems like a lot of what you're saying is it's not necessarily all about learning and information, because we have all this information, right? We're in the age
Yeah.
of chat GPT, Google, YouTube, all that stuff. But there's
Yeah.
also like this emotional component and the support system, which is like your coaches, but also your followers and your peers. So that way you actually get this stuff done, and you're doing it for the right reasons. And it doesn't become, and like, it also seems like you're saying there's like it comes alive, right? Like there's the unpredictability, like your business is kind of like this monster that you create, which is good, but you also want it, you don't want it to be something that like controls you, right? It shouldn't be another job, like the whole thing you said, where eventually like sell the business if it no longer makes sense. And so we could go on for like 5 hours about this, but I want to make sure that we talk about you. So in our conversation we're having, to avoid the mansplaining, because it's a boss mom topic, what question do you wish I would ask you, but I just don't know to ask you?
Oh, um, actually, the most fun one is just, what's the future of Boss Mom? Because it's completely changed from what it was last year or the last decade, I think. Yeah. Um, so Boss Mom, like a lot of businesses, because I do coaching and consulting, was a coach centered business, right? I had the community, but ultimately we wanted you to get into group coaching program, get coached by us. That was the normal system. That's where the revenue was coming from, and small products and things like that. We have shifted that now, and you had said it's bossmom.com. For the last decade, it's been boss-mom.com, but we just finally bought bossmom.com. They wouldn't sell it to me forever, but enough cease and desist got it for me. So I finally bought it, and we're moving it to be a media engine. So last year, we shut down our Facebook group, and we moved over to an actual app, which is a low cost, but a social networking app. So in the future, then and a couple years from now, moms will not have to market their business on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook or any of those places if they don't want to. They will be able to go and market themselves in a much more focused space without having to compete with a 20-year-old who knows how to make viral videos in a way that they don't. And they'll be able to run their business. They'll be able to contribute articles like think Forbes for Moms on our website. And it'll be a traffic-based website where we're driving traffic so that we can help be a launch pad for moms so that they can get more visibility. So they don't have to be all the sales and marketing that is now required. We are going to be doing studies and reports. So right now we're pulling together all the data to report on what holidays how they actually impact moms, because holidays are not a very joyous time. It's probably one of the most stressful times for moms, especially moms with businesses who are supposed to be having a sale and the kids are home and they've got to have presents and they've probably got logistics and they've probably got in-laws coming, all of those things. So we're going to be doing studies on finances for moms, how holidays impact moms, what moms actually want. What if 20 hours is usually actually full time for moms? What does that look like for the future of business for moms? And so we are going to start being this like behemoth space that is going to be the advocate, the voice, and the resource, and the launch pad for moms in a way that we had. So it's a completely different revenue model. A lot of what they'll be able to do will be free. And we will be getting sponsorships and different things like that to fund a lot of what goes on there. And we'll have small things like that. And then Boss Mom Plus will be small cost. But most of what we're doing is to completely change and not be a coach centric, but be a media engine, traffic driving space so that moms can have more targeted visibility.
That sounds amazing. And I know that you recently abandoned the Facebook group, if I'm understanding you right, just because social media, it's such a catch-22, isn't it? Like, it's like, well, if you build your platform on your own, then there's no one there. And then you go where the people are at, but then you don't really own it. And then it seems like as Facebook or whatever the platform is evolves, they are generous at first, but then they limit you more and more until next thing you know, you're competing against all these other groups and all these other stuff is showing instead. And you're like, but I thought I went there to get attention, and where's my attention? And so everyone wants to have their own app and their own community and their own social network. But then there's that problem of like keeping the critical mass going, right? Keeping the attention. So do you have any concerns about that? Or do you have like a plan to like keep the fire alive when you're in your own space?
I think we the way we build community is everybody who's in it keeps it alive. And then my job is to go out and rally the troops, as my dad would say, is get on shows, go places to get them excited, to tell them about the movement, to tell them it exists. Our job is to create the visibility so that their job is easier. We make sales and marketing easier for them, and there's a lot of excitement around life just being a little bit easier for moms. I'm assuming there's going to be an insane amount of challenges that I just don't know exist yet. And then as an entrepreneur, we will figure them out as they pop up.
So you're prepared for the difficulty and the challenges, but also keeping in mind to
Yes.
feed the publicity beast. And there's always
Yes.
that need to be talking about what you do, even though it seems like, well, I have other priorities or I don't have time. Well, you need to make time if you want people to pay attention. And so what are some next steps here? If someone says, hey, everything that you said here really hit with me. I hate the word resonate, right? It's such all these lady coaches especially, right? They talk about like, oh, well, it aligns, it resonates. But to speak it in man terms, if they like what you had to say, right? There's my caveman language. Then what's the next step? What's the sales pitch, so to speak, for Boss Mom, and how do they take that first step with you?
Yeah, honestly, we're just going to tell them to go to bossmom.com. We're going to have all the articles, all the resources. Our resources page has it has how to use AI for your business the way a mom would. It's a non-prompt methodology that works way better for the way mom's brains works. We have our favorite things. It'll tell you these are all the like boss mom approved tools, products, people, systems, all that kind of stuff, from life and business, right? We're going to have articles and features. We're going to have reports so you don't feel alone and you can feel validated. You can contribute. We're going to have lists for moms for starting next year where you can nominate, people to be on those lists to be up and coming boss moms and boss moms of impact. And yeah, so there's so much. So if you go to bossmom.com, you will be able to go in and enter into our world, and then we'll help you take the next step.
Exciting. Well, that is the place to go. BOSSMOM.com, bossmom.com. See what's there, enter into that world. And as people are going to bossmom.com here, Dana, I liked at the end of the podcast to put my guest on the spot a little bit, try to stump them, and ask for a fun or interesting quote or lesson that has served them that they can pass on to us. So does anything come to mind for you, putting you on the spot for a quote or lesson?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me in my particular life, is you can't scale what you can't measure, right? And that isn't just your finances, that isn't just the products and the conversion rates. It's also, I have found it's that emotional part, right? So when we go to do our strategic planning, we don't just measure finances. We do what we call the fee test, which is financial, emotional, and environmental. And we've started embedding that in, because that idea, when I really thought about it, that you can't scale what you can't measure, has really impacted my understanding of awareness is the number one most important thing that we can do. And there's so much growth and ability once we simply become aware. That's a lot of what with the new book and the new brand and everything is the more awareness and the more acceptance we can make for women, the more growth they can have in all areas.
Huge. Well, time to get some awareness, time to measure that emotion, but it sounds like a mess to try to figure out on your own. So get the help that you need. Go to bossmom.com, BOSSMOM.com. You'd be glad you did. You have fun. You learn a lot. You get some places thanks to Dana Malstaff and her community. And thank you very much, Dana, for showing up again. Repeat visit, for telling us what we need to know and helping us out.
Thanks for having me.
All right.